My name's Cara, you're watching my personal channel, CuteWitch772, and yesterday, or a couple days ago, I posted a poll on Twitter and also a thing on my Facebook page asking you guys what you wanted my video to be this week. So I know obviously not all of you got to participate in that because you're not all following me on Twitter and Facebook and you don't all check things every single day. That's fine. Some people got to participate in that, and it was between something about theater because it's a show weekend again, or something about body image, something about my struggles with working toward being a full-time witch, and something about tarot. And combining all those votes together, the clear winner to be this week's video was the witchy struggle. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. It is not a scripted video, although it probably should be. I'm on my way to an audition here pretty soon, so I purposely made it so I couldn't ramble on too long. But basically there are a couple things that have just been coming up in the past couple of days that I tweeted about, I don't remember if I posted on Facebook about, just related to the fact that the work that I'm doing is difficult. And not in a way that's trying to complain about it like, you guys, you have no idea what I'm going through right now. But just from a sense of like, wow, I knew this would be difficult, and when you try to do something like this, you know that it's going to be difficult and you think that you're ready for it to be difficult, but then as you continue working through it, you realize more and more just how difficult it is and that it can be. So everyone has their unique struggles with whatever you're doing in your life. Whether it's trying to be more organized, trying to take more time out for yourself, trying to run a spiritual business full time, whatever it is, and whoever you are, you have your own things that are difficult for you. And different things that you will be attempting to do will be more or less difficult based on your personality, your personal tendencies, whereas the same things for another person could be more or less difficult for them than it is for you. So, as with everything I ever talk about, it's all through a lens of me, and this is just how I'm dealing with certain things. These things may be totally easy for some of you, and the thing is, that is a huge perception that I have, is that these things that are difficult for me are easy for everyone else, and that if only I were somehow different in that way, that if I were just the kind of person, then I would be able to do these things lickety-split, super easy, like I imagine so many other people are. So, without being super vague for the entire video, let me talk about some of the things that I've been struggling with and some of the things that have been coming up for me. So, struggling with moving into being a full-time witch, basically a professional witch, so you may call it, has to do with self-motivation, certainly has to do with scheduling. And scheduling is a thing I'm good at, organization is a thing I'm very good at, but it's very different when I'm working as a stage manager or in college when I worked as basically the office secretary for my entire theater department and I ran the student office. Those are within set schedules. I had a specific time that I had to come to work and clock in, and I had a time that I had to leave. And when I'm a stage manager, there's a certain time that I know I have to be at the theater in order to open the building to let people in for rehearsal, and there is a certain time when we are done, I lock up and I leave and I go home. And there are all these other things that I have to do in between there that I have to say, okay, I have to send this email before this date, whatever. There's a schedule. And when you're doing that for yourself and you're not entirely used to that, that can be difficult. For some of you, that is really easy. A lot of you do that for yourselves, especially, you know, people who have families and you are the organizer for your entire family and you have to put everybody's schedules together. You're probably really good at this. This is something that I struggle with. When I am not given the structure, when I don't have to be clocking in somewhere and leaving at a certain time, and there's not a set schedule like that, I struggle. And I have attempted to create my own schedules, such as on Mondays I will work on this, and on Wednesdays I will work on this, or certain time frames. But part of the freedom of working for yourself is that within that structure, if something comes up, it's not a crisis because you can adjust it for yourself. The thing is, I've always been a procrastinator, and they say, you can read articles online, some people say that people who are consistently late to things are actually really optimistic because we believe that we have more time to accomplish more things than we really do. So we're being optimistic about the amount of time we have and the amount that we can get done in that time, which always leads us to try to do more things in less time and we end up running late, which is when you have to do things like, okay, I'm gonna do this video at this time, knowing that I have to leave at this time. My phone is tweeting at me. Not tweeting, like, it was a bird chirping noise. Okay, my phone is chirping. Knowing that I have to leave at a certain time so I won't make this video too long and I will get out the door at a certain time. That's the plan anyway. But you know, if I end up out really late one night, like last night, I went out with a bunch of people from my cast of the show I'm working on. I wasn't planning on going out, but they wanted me to go out, so I did. And then it turned out that there was a live DJ and a dance floor and some of the girls wanted to dance, and I love to dance, and I haven't in a while had the opportunity to just go and bust it out on the dance floor, you know. So we did that last night, and we ended up staying out longer than I thought I would be out. So when I got home, and I still had some things that I wanted to do when I got home at 1 a.m., it's my usual time, I'm a night owl kind of, for the most part, I stayed up later than I wanted to, so I slept in later than I had originally planned to. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had to be somewhere at a certain time this morning. So there's a little bit of flexibility in that, and I love that freedom, but with great power comes great responsibility. I still have to schedule the things that need to be done. I have an audition today at a certain time, and I need to be there a certain amount of time early to fill out paperwork, so I have to leave my home at a certain time in order to give myself enough time to drive there, find it correctly, because I've never been to this place before, fill out my paperwork, do my audition, you know? So I have to be thinking backwards like that. So just that whole thing is difficult for me. I used to have a roommate, and I'm one of those people for whom co-working works really well. If you watch the Holy Trinity of YouTube, Hannah Hart, Mamrie Hart, and Grace Helbig, separately or together, they are sometimes known as the Holy Trinity, and you will have sometimes heard them talk about the idea of what they call co-working, which is where they all have separate things going on, but they also do some things together, and they have a shared office space where they sometimes go to film their videos separately, but it's all kind of within the same place. So you could be working on a totally different project than what I'm working on, but we're in the same room, we're in the same space, we are, you know, we're with another person, not working directly with them, but just in a space with another human being, and it's just a productive space. It's a productive energy, you know they're there, you know, so sometimes that can really help people. I'm very good at working alone, again, when I have that structure. So it's much easier for me to get my stuff done, like around the house, if someone is over. If I know that one of my friends is coming over, that's when I have the motivation to finally do certain things. So if you ask my friends, 9 times out of 10, they come over, I'm in the middle of working on something when they come in, because that's when I feel motivated. I'm like, there's a person coming over, even if they're not there yet. I might be doing dishes, or I might be cleaning around the house, or I might be finishing a crochet project. You know, it could be anything. And that's just how the energy works for me. And there are times that I can feel that energy at home totally by myself with no one coming over, but it's never a guarantee. So it's just kind of a struggle balancing, you know, am I gonna feel like I have the energy to do this day? And how do I ensure that I have that energy when I really need to have it? So then I come up with these rituals, right? So when I get ready to do readings, sometimes I'm not in the mood to do a reading, but I have to tell myself, okay, you need to do this. And I keep a to-do list on my whiteboard at all times, so that really helps me know what I have to do. And I put the date of when that thing starts. So if it starts getting too late, I know I really have to get it done. But I try to get it done within, you know, a certain amount of time from when it pops up. So if it gets to the point where it's been so long and I haven't had a high energy day where I'm really motivated to do that thing out of my own motivation, I do some kind of ritual type thing that I know will help put me in that space. So I make myself get up. I might turn on music. I get out my incense. I light incense. I like to have incense burning when I do readings. I don't always, because sometimes I do readings at other people's houses just while I'm there. Like I'll go to my grandma's house and do one while I sit with her. So I'm spending time with her, but I'm also getting work done. I did that yesterday. And I don't always have incense with me when I'm there. But that's something that I like to do at home. So I come up with these little things that I can do. The other really big thing that I've been working on with some other people online, just kind of within a group where we're not all working on the same thing, right? Again, it's kind of a co-working situation. We're all working on the development of our own spiritual paths. And we all have different things going on within that. And we might share some things that we think will be interesting to the other people and learn from that. But ultimately, we're working on different things. And the thing that I'm really working on is this spiritual business thing. And so tied to that, I'm doing a lot of work with prosperity and abundance consciousness. and really getting to the root of my root chakra situation and figuring out where did I get these. I'm afraid that there's glare on my glasses again. Glare is one thing that I have not yet figured out. Like if I show you a piece of white paper in this, anything, there's glare on it, and I always forget that. So I'm just paranoid right now for some reason that there was glare on my lenses. Woo, like there's not from my skin. Looking at where did I develop these beliefs that I have about prosperity and abundance, and I have a lot of blocks around this, as a lot of people do. So I'm working with people who are in the midst of working on their own prosperity and abundance, and also people who have already been doing that work for years and years and are seeing good results and now are teaching it to other people. And it's one of those things that, when you start it, you're like, ooh, yeah, this is tough work, but I'm ready to get into it, and I'm ready to learn, and I'm ready to, make change in my life. And then you have a bad day, and it all comes back, and you undo all of the progress that you just made, because fear and all of those other negative emotions come right back in and stomp out the progress that you've just made, and you kind of have to start over. And sometimes you leave it for a week at a time and you don't do anything until you're like, I need to do something about this, and then you start getting back into it. You get some feedback from other people, you watch some more videos about people's opinions of it and ways that they do their energy clearing, and all of a sudden you have a breakthrough, and you're like, whoa, okay, I knew this would be hard, but it's like, okay, this is okay, like, it's okay, it'll be fine. But it's like I told Brendan when I was getting ready to go to witch camp, and they kept asking me, are you ready? Do you feel like you're ready? Are you prepared? And my answer was, I'm ready to not be ready. Because I was aware that I had never been in this situation before, I've never done anything like that before. I knew that I was not fully prepared because I didn't fully know what to expect. I've never done it, and really all I could do was be prepared to show up there and realize that I was not prepared for the work. So I was saying, I'm ready to not be ready. I'm ready to walk into a situation and realize this is more than my conscious brain was expecting, and I'm ready to delve into it anyway. And that's kind of where I am now. When I'm working on all this stuff, I'm coming back to that over and over. I'm like, ooh, I thought I was ready, but I'm not ready. Am I ready to not be ready and keep going forward? And it's been really enlightening the past couple of days, the work that I've done, because, like I said, it was kind of like an epiphany where the same things that I've been working on for a couple months now, the same statements I've been saying, the same meditations I've been doing, the same thought processes, the same everything, all of a sudden made more sense. There is a new clarity. There is a new background where I'm like, okay, I understood it before, or I thought I did, but now I understand even more why I'm doing this and what this is about and how I can go deeper into that. And really looking at it is this weird experience of being like, oh, I thought I've been doing this work already, and now it feels like I kind of haven't been because I didn't know this, but I have been doing it. It's just going deeper and deeper into it and diving deeper. So that's when I had this idea that I'm like, should I talk about this, the struggle of becoming a full-time witch kind of thing? Because really I can't stress enough that there's always more, and I tell people that on this channel all the time, right? We are lifetime learners, as well as, you might eventually become a teacher of some kind, but you're still always learning. There's always more for us to learn, right? It's this idea that you think you're doing this work, and I've seen this happen a lot online. I hear people and I see people talk about this work that they think is so transformative, but as I observe them talking about it over time, and I see them doing the same things over and over and never getting any deeper and never making any progress, and they're just coming back to the same problem, and they're working on the same problem. And I remember when I was there, and I thought that I was doing this deep transformative work, but I was really just cycling on the same surface, and I was never going a level deeper and deeper and deeper and really getting into it. So every time I find myself suddenly dropping a level deeper, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, it's such an illusion, because we think that we have been doing this beautiful, deep, transformative work, but really it's like we've been in a paddle boat on the surface of the water. And then you find out, now I'm snorkeling, and look at those people up there who think they're doing deep work, but they're still up on the surface of the water in a boat. They're not even in the water. This is a metaphor that I started using with one of my friends a while ago. And yeah, so it's like, and then you get there. Then you get to the point where you're actually swimming a little bit deeper in the water. Me, IRL, I can't swim. So this is just fully a metaphor for going deeper. It could also be, there are metaphors for going higher as well. I talked about these with some of my friends a while ago. Maybe I'll share the full thing with you another time. I won't get into it. But it's basically this idea that, like, you could be, like, down there swimming with the fish and you're doing your work and you're like, yes, this is so good. This feels good. I'm doing this deep work. I'm feeling transformed. And then you hear other people saying, I'm doing this deep, awesome work. I'm doing all this work. But they're still up there. And you're just like, but it's not anything against them. It's not like, look at you, you think you're doing this. I mean, you might have that thought for a minute, but then when you really come back to yourself and realize, one, that's a jerk move. Two, you used to be there. That was you. Like a little bit ago, before you got down here, you were up there. So you need to just let them do their work and realize, and they will eventually find it if they're really doing the work. Because, girl, if you look further down, there are people who are much, much deeper than where you are now too. So it's just like the level that you get to. And as so I talk about going deeper, but at the same time when we go deeper, we talk about raising our vibration, vibrating at a higher level. So it's the same kind of thing. As I work more and more on raising my vibration, I realize that a lot of the people who were my peers, as I've been raising my vibration, they're staying the same. And that can cause clashing, because as I talk about more of the things that I'm doing and I'm exuding a different type of energy, I am not only attracting other people who are on this higher frequency, which is cool, your vibe attracts your tribe kind of thing, and then some of the people who are down here see that and open up to that, and they're like, whoa, this is really cool. And that's why when I started doing this work, I looked for people who were on that higher frequency to learn from, and I'm raising closer to where they are. So there might be people looking at what I'm doing also saying, ooh, I could raise my vibration even a little more, and they come up here. But there are also people who are just gonna be down here. You know, they're gonna be on the surface of the water in the paddle boat for a while, and that's where you need to be. And, you know, your vibration is there, and it might feel offensive to you to hear other people who used to be on your frequency talk about something deeper or of a higher resonance, because you're not there yet. And instead of opening up to it, your initial response is to be defensive. And the reason I'm saying this is because, again, I was there not so long ago. So this is the whole kind of struggle for me, is recognizing that as I do this work, not only am I going deeper and deeper than I thought, right? Because at every level you think, oh, I'm doing this great work, this is so good. And it's because that's the level where you're supposed to be. And that's one level deeper from where you were, or one level higher from where you were, however you want to look at it. And that's what's good for you. But then you see other people and you're like, ooh, wait, no, I could actually go a little bit deeper. There's people doing this even more than I am. And at the same time, there are people who are not there yet. And recognizing that those people may not choose to accompany me the rest of the way on the journey. This goes for people online as well as people in my real life. As I've been changing all of those shifts that I was talking about a couple years ago, as my vibration shifted, as my path shifted, there are people who chose not to accompany me forward in my life. And that's hard. That sucks. And it continues to happen, and it'll continue to happen with people online as well. I might lose people, I might lose some of you, but there will also be some people who choose to move forward with me. And there will be new people that we meet who are already at those higher frequencies who we couldn't hear before because we weren't there, we weren't listening to that. So the struggle, this was supposed to be about my struggle, and I feel like I'm just sharing a lot of like teaching moments. So I'm not sorry for that, because I think this is really helpful, but I keep wanting to bring it back to the struggle for me is realizing that I have to be okay with that. I have to let things go that are of a lower vibration. And if that's people that I love dearly, sometimes that happens. If that's viewers who have been with me for years but are not willing to move forward or don't like what I'm doing, you don't want to support, I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with people being where they are. And just like I have to forgive myself for being where I am and not being deeper where I want to go, or not being all the way higher frequency where I want to be. I have to forgive myself for being in that paddle boat and thinking that I was, swimming with the dolphins. I have to forgive myself for giving into that illusion, because that illusion was what kept me safe at that time. And as it shatters, it hurts, and it may be extremely frightening, but overall I have to be grateful for that moment, that now I can see. Now I can see what I was doing and what I was not doing. And having to face that is sometimes really easy, some days, and sometimes really not. So for me, there is ultimately a struggle with self-motivating and with really feeling like I'm supported enough by the universe, by other people, by whatever it is, by myself even, to do this work and know that this work is worthwhile. There is a struggle to feel that. There is a struggle that if I am not seeing the progress immediately, I feel like it doesn't exist. And if it's not working, then what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I should just stop. And then I regress and I do nothing. And then I feel bad about myself. And then of course nothing is coming in because I'm not doing anything. So that is a struggle, that whole cyclical nature of just trusting and having to let go. And the struggle of now that I've, opened up to a few more things with my prosperity and abundance that are things that I've been working on for months, but I didn't realize, they finally clicked kind of things. I'm seeing these things and I'm like, ooh, now I have to do this work. And there's two ways you can look at this, right? It's like, I have all this work to do. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not doing this work. This is too much. Goodbye. 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 Bye. Bye. Peace. Bye. Bye. And then there's the version which is like, now I gotta go do this. But then there's also the version which is where I'm kind of trying to be, which is like, oh, thank you for letting me see what I actually have to be doing. Now I can do something about it. That's the one I'm trying to be, but those other ones definitely exist. Struggle. And then just the struggle of realizing that in order to move forward, you have to leave things behind. I know some of that video was a little bit redundant. I hope it wasn't too annoying. Kind of stream of consciousness, kind of trying to keep it all organized and come back to the point. But yeah, wow, I didn't expect to talk about some of those things in this video. So there it goes. It came out. It's there for you. I could go more in depth about those metaphors sometime, maybe on my blog or something like that, because I really did like that metaphor. I journaled about it quite a bit and I told some of my friends about it. I even thought about making it into like a trance meditation or something like that. So I don't know if I'll be doing that anytime soon, but that's a thing. So thank you very much for watching this video this week. I also wanted to let you know real quick before I go that I'm currently offering an additional reading spread type thing on my blog. I will link to it in the description. That is a look into your year cards, your personal year cards, using one of the decks that I have, which most of you haven't seen unless you're following me on Instagram. It's the Vertigo Tarot, based on the Vertigo comics as part of the DC universe. The deck is by Neil Gaiman, Dave McKeon, and Rachel Pollack. And the link in the description to my blog will describe the whole thing and what's included with it and everything like that. So I just want to let you know that I'm offering that additional thing currently. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for doing your work, whatever your work is, wherever you are. If you're in that boat, if you're still on the land, if you haven't even gotten into that boat yet, you're not sure if you're starting the journey, you're still on land, maybe you're gonna go take a hike. It's a totally separate journey, go a totally different direction. Thank you for doing your work. Thank you for showing up every day for your purpose, whatever your purpose is. And thank you for being honest with yourself about where you are and forgiving yourself for being where you are and not comparing yourself to where others are, but looking to where you want to be and making steps toward it. Thank you for doing that work. I know how difficult it is. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.